song Under the Milky Way was released in 1988. It's a timeless classic and it's an excellent song to learn how to strum on the guitar. For today's lesson, I've broken this song down into 3 separate ways of playing. We have a beginner version, an intermediate version, and also an advanced version. So if you're just starting out or you've been playing a little while, we have choices. Of course, I recommend that you learn all 3, but if you need to skip to the version that works best for you, you can skip to these timestamps: the beginning version, the intermediate version, and the advanced version. So before we get going, before we get into learning this song, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know which version you're learning today. Let's dive right in and learn the most challenging way of playing it, but yet the closest to the actual version. Let's start off with talking about the strum pattern. So when we're strumming, you want to make sure you're counting. It's super important that you count so you know where you're at within the pattern. Let's go over this pattern. This pattern is a 2-measure pattern, and it sounds like this, and it works like this when we're counting. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and down, down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I recommend you practice it just like I'm doing. Mute the strings and focus on just the right hand. Alright, so what are some golden rules for strumming? I talk about this a lot. Remember, when you're strumming, the arm never stops moving. That's rule number 1. Second rule is no robot strumming. Keep this really loose. No stiff strumming. Alright, let's jump right into, we're going to be learning 3 parts to the song. We're going to be learning the introduction, part A, and part B of the song. Right? Let's talk about the chords involved. The very first chord we have is an A minor. It looks like this. The next chord we have is an A suspended 4th. Looks like this. Next chord we have is an F chord, which I'm not playing as a bar chord. I'm going to play like this. I'm going to open up that first string. Totally acceptable. And then we have G played with 3rd and 4th finger. It looks like this. Let's go into part A. So part A of the song is going to have an A minor chord once again. Now we have a D with an F sharp, which is tricky. We have 2, 3, and 4 down. Then we have an F chord, and then an E minor chord. Let's go into the chords for part B. We just have a G chord and an F chord. That's all we have. Alright, let's get into playing this song. We're going to start with the introduction to the song. We're going to be using that same pattern we just did earlier. Let's give it a shot. Starting on A minor. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Same thing on the F and the G. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2. Let's get into part A. Part A is exactly like the introduction, but incorporates some really interesting lower bass note movement. So let's try that. Same thing with the strum. Each chord is going to get the first or the second half of that 2-measure pattern. Let's try it. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and tricky switch. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Alright, let's go on to part B. So, remembering the 2-measure strum pattern, the G chord is going to get both measures of the 2-measure strum pattern, and the F is going to get both measures as well. Remember that pattern? Start on G. Remember G is 3 and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and F. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Again. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Alright, version number 2. This is the simplified version of the actual version. It's the easiest version of all 3. Let's get into it. So, when we're learning this, we're going to be doing a simple 1-measure strum pattern, as opposed to the 2-measure strum pattern of the actual version, and we're going to be doing easier versions of the chords. Let's talk about the strum pattern first. So what I want you to play for this, and I do want you to count, by the way, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... See how I'm practicing this by just muting the strings and just doing this for a little while? It's a great way to practice, separate the hands, right? Remember the golden rules for strumming? The arm never stops moving, and keep the wrist loose. Alright, let's dive right into what the chords are for this song. We have an A minor chord, looks like this. Second, third, and first fingers are down. We have an F chord, which we're going to simplify. We're only going to use 3 fingers, 3, 2, and 1. And the G chord, why not? Let's make it the easiest of all and just use 1 finger and try to strum it from the 4th string. You can use this version if you want, but we're talking simplified here. Alright, so let's start strumming the song. We're going to start with the introduction. What's our strumming pattern? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... Alright, let's dive in and start with the introduction. So the A minor is going to get 2 of those patterns of down, down, up, down, up, down, up. The F's going to get 1 and the G's going to get 1. Let's try it. A minor we're starting with 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... That's your introduction. Now part A is exactly the same as the introduction. Let's go over it again. Why not? Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... All right, let's move on to part B. All right, here we go, starting on G, simplified G. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and F. 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Let's repeat it. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... All right. On to version number 3, which is basically the middle of the road version, which interestingly enough is exactly what the other guitar player in the band plays. Let's talk about this. So we have a capo. If you know what a capo is, one of these things right here, you want to put it down here at the 5th fret. Now it is worth mentioning at this point, you should probably retune since the guitar tends to freak out when you put a capo on it and it goes out of tune. I've already pre-tuned this, all right? Okay, so for this, we're going to be using the actual way that this is strummed. Let's talk about the actual way it's strummed. It's a 2-measure strum pattern, and counting it out, we're going to count. You want to make sure you count when you play, right? Let's try that strum pattern. We're just going to mute the strings. We're focusing on the right hand. You ready? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and you notice I'm skipping, and that second measure I'm skipping. It's called skip strumming. We're skipping that very first beat. All right, let's go over the chords for this song. Now these chord shapes are kind of interesting and very simple to switch to, by the way. So the very first chord is an E minor shape, which interestingly enough, the pitches are A minor, but don't worry about that. We're just learning an E minor shape. E minor shape, which is the 2nd and the 3rd finger down here, right? At the 5th string, 2nd fret, 4th string, 2nd fret, 2nd and 3rd fingers. And then we have a C major 7, which is just 2 fingers. And then we have a D. Those are the only 3 chords you're going to be playing in all 3 parts. All right, let's dive right into part A. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Let's move on to part B. Let's give it a shot. Let's go slow. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and switch. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... That wraps it up for this truly awesome 80s hit under the Milky Way guitar lesson. Now, hopefully you found something in this video. Hopefully you found some value in this lesson. I have 3 different versions that you could have learned. Hopefully you can master all 3 eventually. Don't forget, you can always revisit this video to learn any of the 3 versions as you get better. Please don't forget to like. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a great day.